Sorry to be cruel, but to die as soon as possible. That's my message to Putin. Before the war, I had a lot of friends and colleagues in Russia. I stopped communication to most of them, and if you would ask me what can I advise them, to turn on their brains. They are victims of terrible propaganda. The war changed everything, the place, the time, the circumstances, and the future, of course. So I waked up 24th of February last year because of big explosions. We lived in a village with an aircraft base, so Russians attacked our base in the very first minutes of the war. It was incredible, it was unbelievable. I was among those people who didn't believe that they can act like this, that they can start the war, the real war. So we were in a conflict with Russia for many years, but I didn't believe the war can start. So it took me a couple of days to realize that this is real. Seeing the explosions, seeing paratroopers, and even watching like a horror movie, a battleship a couple of kilometers from my balcony, with night tracers, with all these battles with paratroopers, as I've said. So, just a few days, it took me and my wife a few days to take the final decision, and we left our home exactly on my birthday, the 4th of March. The story I would like to share is not only about the war. The story started long before the war, and the story I would like to share is about love, is about compassion, is about challenges and solutions, and hope, of course. So the story started 11 years ago when my daughter was born with severe disability. Since that, my life changed, and I saw and I see the main goal of my life to care about my princess, to create appropriate conditions and environment for her to be happy. So I am happy father, and I was happy father from the very beginning of her life. I was doing a lot of things not only for my princess, but also for such children with severe disabilities. And the same year she was born, I founded an international NGO, DCP Help, supporting families with children with disabilities. We decided to go to our friend's house in Slovakia because it's just across the border, and then apply for traveling documents and visa documents to come to the UK. My house was absolutely independent in terms of energy supply, in terms of food and fuel reserves. It was a kind of habit to provide all these. So in general it was prepared for something, but still it was unexpected, in fact. So we took our 2 cars, we packed them with food, with fuel, and just left the house towards the border with Slovakia. And it was unbelievably difficult to get there because thousands, tens of thousands of people were trying to escape. So huge, many kilometers queues, and no signs, no navigators, because everything was cut down and turned off, not to let Russians orient and see the way between the roads and the way between the cities. So on the way to Slovakian border we spent 2 days. Usually it takes 7 hours of driving, but we spent 2 days, and it was real horror to see cars without fuel standing on the sides of the roads and crying children. It was very cold. Sometimes we stopped just to help people with mobile batteries or giving them some food, but it was really amazingly terrible and awful to see all these victims of the war that started in Ukraine. Finally, we got through all these block posts to the border, spent 12 hours waiting at the border, and fortunately my princess, who was 10 years old at this time, she behaved like angel. It seems that she understood that it's necessary to support us, to participate actively with all resources and capabilities. So we crossed the border, and it was paradise, a resort area by the lake in the mountains in Slovakia. So we spent 1 day sleeping, just sleeping, because we were exhausted. And after this, we tried to get around. We, of course, tried to find other Ukrainians, and from the very beginning of our stay in Slovakia, my DCP Help organization was going on supporting families with children with disabilities to cross the border, to accommodate, to find the right way. So we lived 30 kilometers from the border, so it was quite easy for me and using the car to support such families. And we spent 3 months in Slovakia waiting for the traveling letter. Is a dream document for Ukrainians who would like to come to the UK. Why the United Kingdom? First of all, because of language. That's the closest country, English-speaking country, to Ukraine. And of course, in order to survive, to integrate, to be socially active and useful, to contribute, the language is crucially important. The other thing is the image of a stable and safe country. So for us, safety became highest priority, even higher than language. But for me, the third factor is that I had a lot of friends here in the UK and even clients in my private business before the war. So quite an appropriate environment to come and to be safe with my daughter. However, to get the UK visas was a real challenge, and there is a lot of such stories, and I'm a part of this story. 3 of us applied at the same time to get visa. 2 of us, me and my daughter, got visas in 2 weeks. And we were waiting for 3 months for the 3rd visa for my wife. It was unbelievably, and it was not explained. We didn't have opportunity to follow the process, to call home office or to write a letter. So just waiting every day, waiting with no reaction, with no response. Frankly speaking, we already got, at that time, just in case, we got Canadian visas, and we were at the edge of changing our decision. And only the support, technical support of our friends from the UK helped us to get all visas at the one time in 3 months. So after that, we were lucky to get all the documents and to come here. When we got them, we started immediately to prepare. We sold our cars, we do everything to be ready to arrive in the UK. So we arrived in June 2022 and immediately started to integrate. For me, it was not really a good idea to overuse the hospitality of our friends. So for me, it was important to find a job, to find income, to find separate independent housing, but I've met a lot of challenges here. The point is that I spent a lot of time in Europe and the United States, but here it was absolutely different. It appeared to be absolutely different. Sometimes cultural barrier, sometimes a lot of other challenges. It was almost impossible to get proper job, to get support for my daughter with disability. So I passed all these difficulties and ways on application for benefits, trying to get job, applying for different positions and roles in different companies and organizations, and quite exhausting. But immediately after arrival, I founded a group of like-minded people, entrepreneurs. And it still exists, and this group is called UA Business Resource. And the members of this group are the Ukrainian entrepreneurs, businessmen, business women who would like to do business here in the UK. With this great idea, I approached Aston University Business School, and they supported my project. Since that, for more than 1 year, I work part-time for Aston Center for Growth as a part of business school, supporting Ukrainian community, especially focusing in business support. And that's why I became one of local community leaders, and I enjoy it because I was always trying to help people, and I believe that helping others, you help yourself and you become stronger, sharing something. So with this great idea, I continued to develop and to integrate here. So what challenges? Well, first of all, to take care of my daughter, to get all benefits that we were eligible for. And now it's much easier for those who coming here with children with disabilities, because I'm here and I can share not only my story, but some solutions, some networks, some connections that help people with disabilities survive here, and not only survive, but integrate. 8 months ago, we found an independent housing. Now we live in Solihull separately, still friends with our hosts, but on the distance, not disturbing them too much. And I can understand most of my compatriots who dream of living separately, not because they don't like each other with hosts, but it's just a matter of politeness and peaceful coexistence. So we live in Solihull, and my daughter finally got a placement to a specialized school. It was a crazy task and it was very difficult, but we finally got this placement, Merston School, and we're happy now that she attends the school, enjoys inclusion and this inclusive environment. We even were lucky and successful in getting mobility car. You need a car here, and to have a good car appropriate for a person with disability, it's a miracle. So I continue to support my group, and it's quite stable. We just have new members joining our group, UA Business Resource. I became a full-fledged Rotary Club member, and together with other Rotarians, we help children with disabilities in Ukraine who stayed there, and I'm proud of our projects. I continue to develop my NGO, DCP Help. Now it became really international, and our activities and our projects are well known in Europe. And we cooperate closely with Cerebral Palsy Midlands, Cerebral Palsy Scotland, International Cerebral Palsy Society, so quite active sharing, not only problems but solutions with other people, especially with Ukrainians who left Ukraine and need special support to their children with disabilities. I work in Aston School, this academic environment that I like very much, Aston Business School, I mean, and at Aston University. I founded my company. I registered my own limited company, trying to diversify the sources of my income and to integrate more intensively. I am going to open another company, CIC company, Community Interest Company, in order to be able to apply for funding to realize and implement the projects of supporting Ukrainian community. So trying to keep quite active, and that gives me energy from inside, because I see and I know now the typical problems and challenges of Ukrainians here and other migrants, by the way, and refugees. So, and I believe that it is possible to solve them. There are solutions and there are ways out. It's just necessary to avoid frustration and to be able to see these solutions. Talking about perspectives, of course, integration, because being a very active patriot of my country, I understand that after war, the care of children with disabilities won't be a highest priority, and it's natural. So in order to take care of my daughter and to provide her a better future, I will probably integrate to stay here, still helping people in Ukraine, Ukrainians in the UK, but probably based here. Again, Alisa's, that's the name of my daughter, Alisa. Her future, her happiness is my priority. So right now I'm trying to find a better job. I'm open for 2 different formats of collaboration with business institutions, with academic institutions, with charities, and still believe that I can do a lot to provide my family and to provide help to others. At the end of my story, I would like to share just 3 main lessons that I learned since the war started. First, and very important for me, one should be ready and prepared for huge changes that can happen anytime. That's really important, to be ready psychologically and to be prepared technically for these changes. Another one, all troubles and even wars can be managed with love and friendship. We shouldn't underestimate love and friendship. And I believe and I see it in reality that love and friendship works, and it's real power. And the third lesson, diversity and inclusion is not about tolerance. This is about real respect, communication, compassion and friendship. For me it's very important because we came from a kind of mono-national country, and here in Birmingham region we face a lot of new and unusual things. And I strongly believe that it's necessary not to tolerate, not to be a victim or to consider somebody a victim, but to understand, to see the value of diversity and inclusion and to enjoy it. Well, I cannot change the world immediately, but I believe in the power of wisdom, humanism and honor. And all we need is just to unite this power. And then I believe it's possible not only to stop the war, but to become, not only to win, but to become happy. Thank you very much for your attention.